Peace, peace. So what we talking about is the difference between race and DNA. Now lately I stopped believing in race, and I'm gonna give y'all some logical reasons why. Now, the way I'm gonna break this down is race is the car, the physical features, the body of the car. Now DNA is the engine to that car. Now, the physical. So pretty much what that means is the race is like the physical genes. How you gonna look, and your past, your closest, your recently closest ancestors. Not down the line, but your mom, your grandma, and your great grandmother. Now, DNA is DNA will show you where you're being started. So it goes all the way back to the beginning of you. Now that would be the mentality. Now, more specifically, the Y DNA, the Y chromosome, that's what I'm talking about when I mean DNA. The Y DNA, that would be the mentality. That would be the engine. Now, there's this man named Dr. Rick Kittles. He African American. Now he do DNA tests for so-called African Americans. Now he don't really do tests based off of how much percentages you are of this, that, and the third. He do DNA tests, and more specifically, he do mitochondria DNA and Y chromosome DNA tests. Now, mitochondria DNA, that's only passed from your mother, and both men and women receive that DNA. Now, your Y DNA is only passed by the men to son, to son, to son, to son. So now Dr. Rick Kittles himself, he got his Y chromosome. He like 90%. He like 90% so-called black, and the rest is like 10% white or whatever it is. Now his Y chromosome, his Y DNA, it go back. Damn, this bitch can't drive. But yeah, so his Y DNA go back to a European forefather. Now, it doesn't mean just because it go back to a European forefather, that don't mean it's a slave master. But there's a good chance that it could go back to a slave master, due to slavery and rape. Now, what he talk about how 30% of African Americans' Y chromosome goes back to a European forefather. Now, he also states that the Y chromosome doesn't determine what race you are, but it determines your manhood. And like I said, that's a fact, because that's the Y DNA is your mentality. That's the men on this planet are the masculine energy. Some masculine energy traits is assertiveness, courage, leadership. You know the gist. It's pretty much your mind. The way you move, the way you act. So the Y chromosome is determining your manhood. So now he didn't say this, but he kind of did say it, but I'm gonna just elaborate more. Now he's saying that if you're let's say you're black, right? You're majority black, 80-90% black, but your Y DNA go back to a European forefather. That doesn't mean you're white, but technically you're mentally white. So you got black skin, but you most likely have a mentally white mentality. And not being racist when I say that. I'm just giving it to you. Just giving it to you how that's just science and that's just how it is. It's clear that black people, and that's why I'm using black and white, because black and white is two different species. You know, we went over that. One's human, one's not. So if you like if you there's no such real thing as acting white, but you know what I mean by that. Now, if your white DNA going to a European man, it don't mean you're gonna have a ill slave master mentality, but you're not gonna have that same connection to. You're not gonna have that same mental black connection that black people, that their Y chromosome goes back to, you know, the slaves and the black folks and the ancients. Now, like me, for example, I'm a great example because I'm mixed. I got a black pops, but a white moms. So my vessel is half white and half black, and it's honestly, my car is honestly a little more white. It's probably about 60% white and then 40% black. No black people is 100% black. So that's my car, but my engine, my mentality, my Y chromosome go back to the slaves, and it go back to the Olmec. So I'm physically not quote unquote black. I'm physically mixed, but I'm mentally quote unquote black. You know, I'm mentally, you know, that's why I got a strong, you know, I made a couple videos of the Olmec, and I refer to the Olmec, you know, a lot, and it's because I have a mental connection to them. You know, so the Y DNA, and we're not discrediting y'all women. I don't want the goddesses to feel offended, but you play a major role in the development of kids. You know, without y'all, we wouldn't even have the ability to produce kids. So we're not taking all credit, but we are taking credit with the mentality, because that's coming from us. That's the Y DNA, that's the mental. So race, yeah, race do matter, but the DNA is telling you really who you are. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I'll give you a good example. If you was to take, let's say, a Lamborghini, right? You got a Lamborghini sports car, and now you got a Honda Civic, a base model Honda Civic engine inside that car. Is that car really a Lamborghini? No. That shit gonna get smoked in a race. Now, if you got a Honda Accord, Honda Civic, whatever, with a Lamborghini engine, is that car really a Honda? No. That shit is more like a Lamborghini, because that's the engine. That's the mentality. So that's just the best. That's just, I don't know about y'all, but that's how I look at it. And it's safe to say that on this planet, this is a masculine planet. So the masculinity is attached with the Y DNA. Now, again, I'm not trying to offend the goddesses, but you got other places that's feminine planets, you know, but just this planet, this world, what we in right now is not, it's not that. So just keep in mind that DNA is what's tracing you. Peace.